This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy and other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. Today, a couple former world champions are fighting for survival and a spot in the playoffs, but time is running out. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Day 2 of VCT Americas Super Week. We're coming at you live from the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles, California. Of course, I'm Golden Boy. You got Athena, Mimi, and Ender there. We're going to break it all down today. And, well, it was a fun way to kick off Super Week. We had some pretty decent matches. Thank you. I was about to be a little disappointed if we were late on the explosion, but thankfully it came in time. But let's go ahead and dive into what happened on Day 1, because first we had Evil Geniuses take on Furia. And, of course, we had Crew facing off against Sentinels. But let's go ahead first and start off with EG versus Furia, because, Mimi, this was a game that we were all excited for based on what Furia accomplished last week against 100 Thieves. Not the case this time around.
Yeah, I was really high on EG coming into this match, and I still feel great about this team coming out. They played into a bind comp with the Omen that I don't think I've ever seen a team play in quite that way. So many different ideas for one ways to take early space on attack. Really cool entry pathing with the Omen TPs, and they kept it up on map 2 as well.
Superman was just absolutely insane on that Omen pick. Loved the ideas, but also was just shooting there.
I feel like the one thing I really like is the fact that when we talk about new metas and new comps, we expect like, oh, the neons and the ISOs and whatever. But they made do with a comp that's already existed before, and they made it play such a good way.
Yeah, and then, of course, if you take a look at Sen and Crew, you talk about new comps. We didn't get any of that this time around. They decided to keep it nice and chill.
Well, I mean, we kind of did. Sen did change up their Lotus comp, but it was going back to something more standard than what they were playing before. It was a pretty close game. Crew had a lot of opportunities to close, pushing both maps to within a few rounds. But I think a lot of confidence can be gained for Sen. Tens and Zekin are back online. John QT had some great calls, and they're showing that they have a lot of depth in the ideas and compositions they have cooked up for Stage 2.
Yeah, and I think if you are a Crew fan, you should be quite happy with the fact that the team performed so well against Sentinels. Would have liked them to obviously pick up that dub.
It was their first game of the stage,
But it was their first game of the stage. They're going up against Sentinels, and they look like that. And they weren't even trying anything.
And they have a great record as well. They're still in a great place to make playoffs.
Exactly. They're in a very good spot. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, Mimi. Let's go ahead and show our standings right now and where we are in the competition in case you're just joining us for whatever reason. I mean, lived under a rock? I don't know. But you got Leviathan in first place. Crew, as we were mentioning before, right behind him. And remember, top 6 is what's going to be important here to be able to get into the playoffs. And on top of that, let's not forget about those championship points that are going to determine those wild cards. So there's certainly going to be a lot to play for here. But as we had mentioned at the top, guys, time is ticking. And there are no more rooms for errors here as, well, we're getting closer and closer to Champion Soul.
Especially for those teams down in like 6th through 9th. These next few games are massive. And we have some of them playing today. Loud, 100 Thieves. Both of those matches are going to be absolutely critical for them to make it.
Yeah, and MIBR still fishing for that first win. We'll talk a little bit more about them in a bit. And then, of course, you got Leviathan, who they're trying to right the wrongs that, came out of Shanghai for them. And, Ender, this is a team that has a lot of talent and a lot to prove.
Of course. And ultimately, sure, you could say they stumbled towards playoffs of Stage 1, towards Shanghai as well. But, their record is fantastic at the moment, right up there with Crew. So it's very interesting seeing how different, the standings are compared to, the strength of teams. Because you've got a team like 100 Thieves that's looking down towards, middle of the pack, towards the bottom, but, obviously is going to be very strong.
Is that why our power rankings were just so hard last night?
They're nonsense.
People were not happy.
When Furia is 8 places below the team they beat.
I like at the end, someone screenshotted you, bringing the Fury up to second.
That was the VALORANT account.
That's actually true.
It was too mega little to us.
You're right. We did get trolled. We deserved it, though. All right, well, folks, here's the thing. We've seen a dramatic shift in the compositions that we've been getting, especially coming from Stage 1 to Stage 2. And there have been quite a few duelist buffs. So here's what our pros think of the new meta that we've been treated to here this stage.
Creo que está muy bueno también que haya cambiado los cambios en los agentes, en los duelistas en general. creo que está muy bueno por el simple hecho de que ahora siento que hay mucha más flexibilidad para los equipos de poder cambiar composición. Cada quien le puede dar como su toque a la composición y va a funcionar y que sea diferente del juego, eso es lo más importante.
Eu acho que os que teve mais impacto de fato foi a Neon e o Aizo, né? Eu acho que mais a Neon, porque querendo ou não, tipo, além dela ter tomado um buff, a Raze tomou um nerf. Então eu acho que isso conta bastante para a entrada dela no competitivo.
The overall kit is better now, and I think the slide is also really funny to watch.
Neon now is like a Lamborghini running through the map, and Raze now is like super slow.
Eu acredito que o Aizo vai ser muito mais forte na Ranked, principalmente porque ele é um boneco que, se tiver duas pessoas atirando ele, o escudo quebra muito fácil. Mas eu acho que mesmo assim vai ter times que vão jogar com Aizo e vai ser bem difícil de enfrentar, porque nunca pode jogar sozinho e tal.
It really depends on if your duelist is, you know, the one trick, two trick Raze Jet, or he's actually very, very flexible. I got the flexible one, you know, Jaw play anything.
Again, look at the proactivity off the charts to get the double tap. Refresh! Jorgamo!
Reyna? Honestly forgot Reyna got nerfed. The heal, a little slow, and the dismiss, it's faster. So I think Reyna's in the same position she was before. All right.
The Doximus said, still adjusts. And everything's being met and found. And so just a sitting duck, Victor. Resetting, double tap.
Foi bem bacana essa tentativa de mudar o meta mais voltado para os duelistas, e eu espero que realmente seja isso, porque eu amo jogar de duelista.
It certainly has been an exciting time for duelists in the VCT because, I mean, it's just been wild stuff that we've been seeing across the board here. But let's go ahead and dive into our matchup today, because the thing is that Brazilian VALORANT has actually had quite an interesting season. But
interesting is one way to describe it.
And a very weird start to stage 2. But the thing is, the only team that was able to cop a win, Furia, so they came in yesterday looking a little flattened, and now you have a position where you have two Brazilian teams that are going to be going up against each other. There's certainly going to be a lot of questions and answers coming out of this one, Myrna.
Yeah, this was insane. Like, I feel like every time we watch Furia play, we start to see the pieces slowly forming and slowly coming together. And then when they put on the show, it looked great. For me, it looked like fundamentally they're ready. They found their footing. And so going into it, when you see Loud and you see MIBR, you're hoping that they can kind of find a similar footing to kind of push themselves past the edge. We saw them play last week, and they looked pretty good to me. Loud, at least, looked pretty good, but
yeah,
they're playing SEG.
Well, to me, Loud is the team to actually have hope for with the roster change coming in, like Sodok switching over to the Neon. Like, I have a lot of faith in this team, in their ability to go deeper than they have, even though, you know, they were one of the teams that represented us back at the start of the year during kickoff. But I think that this team has a much larger skill cap than they had in the past. So I'm waiting to see more
Sodok
time.
Give you that?
I need way more tape on Sodok. I think one series of the Neon and only like 2 games at that is just like not enough to go off of. But I have faith that he will be a strong player for them.
Yeah, and it is also important to note as well that this game is going to be very important for MIBR, because if they lose this, they could potentially be cooked, I believe, right? They are cooked for the season. So they got to get this win today. That's going to be a tall order, 100%, especially going up against Loud. But for more on today's matchup, let's actually send it over to Mimi, who's going to be standing by with our friends from the Brazilian broadcast team. What you got, Mimi?
Yes, thanks very much, GB. I'm joined by XRM and Spaka from our Brazilian broadcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Sure.
I want to start by asking a few questions about our two teams today. First of all, with Loud, they've made a big change here, bringing back Pancata into the team. We've gotten to see them in week 1. XRM, what did you make of their performance with this debut with Pancata? And do you think him on the team is the right direction for Loud?
Yeah, I think for sure. Thanks, Mimi. Hi, everyone. So I think Pancada now is like a different Pancada than before. He's much more of a leader now. He's more experienced, and he's like really, really focused on being the better player that he can be, the best player he can be. Also, Tuiz is like a huge, huge fan of Pancada, so I think he's bringing a lot of confidence to the team, and that's good.
What did you make of Sidak on his Neon debut? I don't think most people thought he'd play the agent.
Yeah, I was expecting also actually Tuiz to play Duelist, but yeah, Sidak is training a lot, playing a lot with Neon a long time. So yeah, I mean, Loud should have won that match. They threw away a lot of rounds, but yeah, let's hope they get better now.
Yeah, our other team in the match today, Spock, is also making big changes. We saw MIBR last week with Paint debuting and 2 subs in the roster. Now they have their full roster that they wanted to play with for Stage 2. Paula and Rich, both going to be making their debut in VCT Americas today. What can you tell me about those players?
Oh, thanks, Mimi. So I saw Paula and Rich growing up in South American scene. And Paula is a really aggressive duelist. He plays a lot of Raze, Jet, and he overpicking all the time. And Rich plays a lot if initiators to make the spot. So Fade, Sova, so I think they are ready to debut against Loud.
Yeah, I mean, we saw when they were playing in Challengers that the duelists we were seeing were mostly the Jet, the Raze, but now we're getting this new patch coming in with big changes to ISO, to Neon. Do you think that MIBR with this new roster is going to experiment much with these new ideas?
Yeah, I think the meta is really good for MIBR because Artisan and Paula can play with double duelists, ISO and Neo. So I don't know if Loud is gonna get ready to this double duelist crossing the map. So yes, I think maybe I can play with ISO and Neo.
Okay, what do you think about this meta for Loud?
Yeah, I mean, Sadak's playing Neo. I really hope to see maybe Tuiz bringing a second duelist. That would be really fun. But yeah, we have to wait and see. But they are looking confident, so yeah, I think they're gonna win the next matches.
Yeah, I'm excited for what both these teams can bring out today. But we have something special for you guys. Okay. We have a little game prepped up. We've talked a lot about Neon, and we're going to try and lock both of you guys into playing some Neon to see who might win today. We have a little race set up on Icebox if you want to hop over to the computers here. And Spaka, I know back in the day, you used to play for MIBR, so you're going to be representing them here, and then XRM.
He's an ex-pro player. Yeah. I'm a newbie, so that's not fair.
But maybe your movement's clean. The race is simple, though. There's 3 bots on this map. They have to start towards A. They have full Neon movement, and the first to kill 2 is going to win. You guys ready?
Yes. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, and go.
Let's go.
Off to the races here.
Let's see.
That first bot up top on Belt, a bit of a tough jump to make.
Okay.
And off to a start here. That's good. All right, now it's a race to the second one. The first person to get there.
Man,
it might just be a 2-0.
No. You're such a newbie, man. You're such a newbie. Sorry, man.
XRM, your movement is cleaner than you're giving yourself credit for.
Yeah, I'm an ascendant, but I mean, in Neon moves, I'm better than this Radiant.
Yeah, you're better, man.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, does that mean Loud's gonna win today, you think?
Yeah, I mean, that makes it easy now, I think.
Yeah, well, we've locked it in. Thank you guys both so much for joining and showcasing some of the Neon movement there. GB, back to you.
Okay, see, that seemed fun. I want to do that. I want to do the Neon course rather than get shot by Baby Bay.
No. That wasn't fun. That was the scientific method in action.
I'm so sorry.
We had a hypothesis.
Yes.
We didn't really. We had a question.
Yes.
And we came out of that.
And what did you learn from that scientific method?
I learned that Loud are going to win very clearly.
Oh, okay.
Which actually was my hypothesis initially.
So you didn't need this necessarily scientific
No, but now I know and we don't need to watch.
Now it's confirmed.
Okay. Now through science, we have confirmed. Excellent stuff there. All right, guys. Well, last week, Loud welcomed Pancada, as we heard, back into the roster. But the thing is, they weren't able to pick up that dub against EG. But you heard earlier, you heard XRM say a few times there, Athena, like, Loud could have won that, should have won that. There's a belief that this Loud team is definitely leveling up.
I mean, I feel like when I'm watching this Loud, the one that played against EG, I have such high hopes for them coming into this week because Sadak, he looked great. I mean, you even heard he's been playing a lot of Neon. He's enjoying the comp. It sounds like in this meta, he's having a lot of fun too. And I feel like bringing that to the table has made Loud have a step up of confidence.
Yeah, you know, to me, it's a slightly mixed bag with Sadak looking at the 2 maps he played the Neon on, because on Lotus, I 100% agree, it was looking very good. On Sunset, he didn't get to play attack. Like, they lost 7 rounds on attack in a row. They got bonused. And so, like, there's a lot of questionable things when it came to the team in terms of their actual execs and, like, post-plant plant location that just didn't really give him a chance to play all that much. So I'm still, like, jury is out for me. I'm not buying in just yet, but I'm slightly optimistic.
They were playing against Jog, just running it down on defense.
He had freedom.
I feel like he had so much freedom that they couldn't really show what they had. So in a sense, I kind of agree with you. I get it. But also, I feel like they still look just so much better than they did
what
before.
I will say is they're playing dive now. Like, apart from, like, Icebox, but, like, they are transitioning into that Neon meta. Like, this is a very good sign for a team that was all throughout earlier in the year, like, pretty locked into playing no dive, playing, like, those Phoenix comps a lot. This seems to have given them a lot more flexibility.
Well, let's continue the conversation, though, on Sadak, right? Because, you know, there really was a thought. It was like, well, I don't know what the hell we're going to get out of this. It could either be really good, it could either be really bad. Turned out that it was okay, right? What do you want to see more of going into this
Before that, I just have to say how funny it is that this dude literally went from throwing wall, he like literally just throwing Deadlock utility standing in place to then sprinting around on the Neon. Like, what a ridiculous roll shift between stage 1 and stage 2.
It's like the biggest extreme.
It's like playing on like a Game Boy Advance and then turning into like an iPad baby all of a sudden. You have like 1 million apps you download. It's crazy.
Playing like all the fingers on his phone.
Like the attention span, like 18 tabs open.
But the thing is, though, is that that flexibility, that actually is quite impressive, you know, for anyone to be able to pull off, let alone especially the IGL of this team, too.
I feel like when you're in that role switch scenario, you tend to bring the ideology of different roles to certain roles. So for Duelist, Sadak, yeah, he's a little bit slower. He's not the zoomy Neon that we've seen Jog kind of do, but he does have so much brain
they have a
when
plan
it comes to
built
his util.
around it.
There's so much planning around his util, around what exactly he's going to do, the timing of his util, that he sets up his team as well as himself to get some kills. So I feel like he just did that really, really well. And so again, that's why I'm really looking forward to seeing Loud play.
Honestly, I think overall it's been impressive to see Sadak, you know, not only take the reins in this role, but also acknowledge like some of the setbacks that they had at the beginning of the stage as well. And now they find themselves here. There's a team that I think, you know, that could turn things around. It is Loud. I mean, this is a team of champions and a team of people who have just so much experience at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we even just heard that they have all this experience with Pancada, and they have the confidence on top of that to kind of push their agenda onto whatever it is that they want to do. And I feel like having that confidence is something that Loud needs. Because
I agree. I'm hearing some tinges of overhype.
A little bit of overhype.
A little bit of overhype.
A little bit.
And I don't want to fully buy in yet. Like, I am cautiously optimistic, but I am not, even though, like, there's a lot of, like, role changes, right? Like, this is a very different Loud, even though all these players we associate with
How do you feel Pancada, though, added to the team's performance against EG? Because I felt like he was... It wasn't as present as I thought it would, but it seemed like it probably was a few more intangibles than it was anything else, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still think Pancada is a fantastic addition into this team. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think that this is going to be a very big improvement for them, and I think it makes sense how he's come into the team. For me, it is more just figuring out, like, what this team looks like with Sadak in the Duelist role off of more tape. I'm bought into Pancada. I didn't need, I don't need more tape to be sold on him.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's the reason why, you know, guys are champion for a reason. But let's go ahead and hear from Loud's STK, the coach of the team, and send it over to Elizabeth, who's standing by.
Hi, STK. Hi. So, good, how are you? So I have a couple questions for you. My first one is, how do you prep for a match against a team like MIBR when the roster is just all in flux and you're not sure who's going to be here?
We did the same that we did past game against CG because we have no material against them, so we focus more on ourselves. And for the match today, we were watching the mistakes that they did in the past match, so we can fix it and play better today.
Are you aware that they have the full team back today? Okay. Yeah. My second question for you is, you have an undefeated streak against Brazilian teams. What have we done to make sure that streak stays alive?
I think that normally we know each other a lot, so I think that we have an advantage on that. I know that they will be really prepared, especially Fraud, because he has like a feeling to destroy us. So good. I think it's will be a really good match, and I hope that we do a really great show and win this and make our run like going and dreaming for champions.
Yes, and my last question is, you see all the green today? Yeah. Can I have a jersey? I really, really like it.
Yeah, you do.
Really? Can I have one? Yeah. Really? Yeah. You're not lying?
Yeah.
Yay! Goodbye. Go, we're good.
So
Is she allowed to
Elizabeth
do that?
just took this job to get free clothing.
I guess.
It is unbelievable.
Hold on, did you pay for what you're wearing?
Well, I'll plead the fifth.
Okay, I critique her, but I did beg and plead to get one of the Genji mascot hats in Shanghai, and it's the best. It's the best item I own.
I actually am very jealous that you ended up getting that.
Don't you own a Sentinels jersey, Mimi?
No,
and it's the best item you. Oh. Okay, let's go to the next.
Moving on. There we go. All right, well, that actually gives us a perfect segue, I think, to MIBR.
So perfect.
Right? So perfect. All right, guys. But look, this is a team that, unfortunately, coming into this stage, we were unsure what we were going to get. They were winless, and now they're in a rebuild stage in the middle of the season. They played with subs last week as well. So there certainly is a lot of turmoil, a lot of things that are in flux at the MIBR camp.
Everything you're seeing on your screen right now isn't real, and it can't hurt you.
It did technically happen, but it's not real.
It's not real.
Yeah.
They were playing with 2 subs. They had a very quick turnaround to realize to sub people in. There was a language barrier, and they were playing some wild comps. I think that past results of that game will not dictate who MIBR is that we see today. They're going to be playing with their full roster, with the 2 new players that they're going to be debuting alongside Paint. It is basically a completely new roster with new expectations, and we don't know who they're going to be.
I am genuinely curious, though, whether or not, that ISO Yoru is their actual read on Ascent, or if that was just something they were just throwing in there. I assume that's going to be changing pretty drastically, but, that was wild.
I mean, I kind of hope not, because I think it was crazy, but surprisingly, when they played, I'm going to agree a little bit with Mimi here. They actually didn't play that bad with 2 subs.
No.
They put up some numbers. They played okay. And I feel like
they were always at a deficit.
They actually had some good ideas with the. I don't think the ISO did a ton, but I think some of the Yoru stuff was cool. Even the decay combos and things. It was
that's why,
better
I'm
than you
hoping
think.
the meta kind of stays the same for them. It's just now the execution is a lot cleaner because they have the people that they've been practicing with.
And this is also a great position, weirdly enough, for MIBR to be in, because you're coming in with 2 players that could have a potential hot start out of Tier 2. And on top of that, you have a LATAM team that's still trying to figure out what they want to be as well.
Both these teams have had such massive changes, bringing back Pancata for Loud, bringing in
so MIBR
some
has a
chance
as
well.
They have a chance here to catch a Loud that's off guard.
I would say, too, it's interesting hearing Spaka talk about how, this team, is probably wanting to run, double duelist ideas, too, which is something they were doing in Stage 1, even with, Raze and Jet, for example. But, Yoru ISO is something that could stick over. And if you're watching a lot of, EMEA, for example, those are comps that you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of these, double duelist ideas that Americas hasn't really optioned into. It's still possible to run things like the Rays. We've seen Sentinels, for example, run a ton of that. So this team could have a very unique read on the meta just in general here in Americas.
And I feel like something really small to touch up on, too, is in the interview, we just heard that they were ready. They understand the region that they're playing in. And I feel like when you're in that Brazil region and you play so much and you scrim so much, you know what it's going to take to kind of win out in those games, meta-wise specifically and playstyle-wise. So they have that going for them, too.
Sure, but like we already discussed, MIBR lose today. They're out of contention. But I want to credit MIBR management because I think they're really taking the right direction here. They're reinventing their team. They're bringing in fresh players. They're taking the risk that a lot of other teams who have been struggling in the season aren't doing. And I think they're setting themselves up for future success into the next season of VCT because of it. It's not impossible that they're going to make playoffs, achieve much this season. But this is a chance to find out if these are the right players, if this is the right roster that'll set MIBR up for success in the future. And I actually think that's big for these players and for the organization as a whole.
You have a rough start, but if you finish strong, despite the, maybe not making it to champs or whatever, I think that's something you can, rest your laurels on and be like, hey, look at us. We did this. And maybe, this is something you could build upon for next season. But, though, we had Elizabeth. Oh, my God. Words are hard. You would think this is my job.
You rest your laurels, old man.
Rest of my laurels, you know what I'm saying? Oh, boy. Anyway, thankfully, someone much younger than me, Elizabeth, actually spoke with the IGL Mazine to get his thoughts about this new roster. Let's take a look.
Laurel?
I don't know.
I'm Mazine. So, obviously, the stand-ins are not here today. So, when did they arrive, and how long have you guys had to practice with each other?
Os meninos chegaram ontem. A gente teve literalmente 2 screens para jogar, para eles sentirem mais ou menos como funciona aqui no NA. E é isso.
They just arrived yesterday, and we had literally just 2 sessions of gaming to practice with them.
Well, with that, how does your game plan change when, your players just arrived yesterday and you only had 2 times to practice?
Eu acho que a principal mudança pra gente agora é que agora a gente vai poder comunicar totalmente em português, então pra gente vai ser mais confortável e também cada um vai poder voltar pra sua função principal.
I think the main thing is that we're going to be able to communicate in Portuguese again, so we're going to be more comfortable, and everybody else is going to go back to their original roles in the game.
Real best of luck.
No language barrier, no problem. They should be cooking today, MIBR, or at least that's what Mazine feels like there. But let's go ahead and take a look at the new additions to this MIBR lineup, because you got Paula, you also have Rich that has come on board here. And, Mimi, these are two players that could very well, contribute a lot to this team. I mean, that's at least what MIBR is hoping for here.
Yeah, I was talking a little bit more to the Brazilian casters after I did that interview with them, and they were really kind of selling me on this Paula guy. Apparently, he's been kind of a prospect for quite a long time down in the Tier 2 scene, back in South America, playing on the Rays, playing on the Jet, and he's been making waves, playing against players you might know like Dejazin back in that scene, and really performing. And I feel like the critique always for MIBR was they were a solid team, they had some good ideas, but there was never that star that would ignite the squad. Sure. And maybe this guy, as a Tier 2 prospect, could do that.
Yeah, I mean, the Rays and the Jet were cooking. Don't ask about the Phoenix. He was locking that in on Icebox, and I don't really know what the deal is with that, but for seeing the Rays, the Jet, perhaps like a Neon, because obviously, it's very hard to judge a duelist's actual agent pool because the meta was so stagnant for so long. So just because he has a ton of experience playing the Rays and the Jet does not mean the ISO or the Neon aren't going to be coming out from him.
Yeah, good point there. And another thing that was mentioned earlier was Loud's record against Brazilian teams. So this is an organization, Loud, that has done quite well against that region, against her own region.
I mean, quite well. They're 24-0.
Quite well. It's like they're the Undertaker of Brazil. And should have wrestling reference there. But the thing is, could that all end today?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I would be utterly shocked if Loud lost today. I think we had really good inklings of what this Loud team could be with the changes. I like their read on the meta. Pancada's back. He had a rougher first game, but I think he's going to be better. And Les was absolutely insane. They've had barely any practice coming back together for MIBR. This is a squad that I think could have potential in the future, but I'm highly doubtful of it being today against Loud.
This is real, but also it's not that deep. MIBR have had 2 gaming sessions. 2 gaming sessions. That is it. They're not winning today. Yeah? It's just not happening. Sorry, they're up against Loud. It's not happening.
What if they have this sick honeymoon period? Just all of a sudden.
With Paula me and does his best Demon 1 cosplay. He just shows up. And look, he's moved our desk.
You're moving the desk and everything.
In terms of pressure, though, coming in at this point in the season for your debut is probably the best time to do so, right?
Yeah.
It's already basically, you're already in a tough spot. Just show us what you can do. Do your best. I mean, you know how hungry those players in the South American scene are to get an opportunity like this, to get to fly all the way to LA, have a chance with a big name team, and come out and play. So honestly, I would love to see something special today, but I think it's going to be really, really difficult.
I mean, the thing is, too, is they're kind of in this position where they literally have nothing to lose, I feel. Unless they go on a crazy win streak, they're not going to be able to
Even then, it's out of their hands, right? It's differentials, it's all that.
So maybe this is where they pop off and show, hey, we have no pressure right now. We don't literally have anything to play for other than to prove ourselves. And one by one, they just bring
And that
it back.
mentality can really do a lot. We've seen it with teams in the past.
Yeah. I mean, EG won a world championship because your boy got a knife kill. So, I mean, stranger things have happened.
Is that the same thing?
Oh, no, a lot of things happened. Look, I mean, it was a butterfly effect.
In history.
A lot of things have happened. It was a butterfly effect.
Many people have been telling me.
All right, let's take a look, though, at our predictions for this matchup across the entirety of our broadcast team and see what everyone says. I went for MIBR. When did I do that? Actually, I remember why. Yeah.
Why did you do that?
I was playing the odds.
But that's not real.
Trying
it's fiction. It's not the stock market.
And you also voted Lev, which is a little out of character.
I actually voted Lev because after 100 Thieves lost to Fury. I was like, I gotta bet on
You do have a
Aspas.
history of overreacting to 100 Thieves losses.
Oh, don't you bring that up to me on broadcast of all things, Mimi. But honestly, I think, Aspas, I just can't bet against Aspas.
Sure.
You know, he's just too nasty. So, and I want to see what more he can cook up, you know, what more the team can cook up. That's my reasonings. What about you guys, huh? Why you guys already put me on the spot?
Loud 2-0, easy, no problem.
No notes?
What about game 2? I think that's harder to pred.
Yeah, but that's like so far away. Are we thinking about that?
I just feel like consistency-wise, they've had a lot of time to cook and they've had a lot of time to play together, and I just feel like they have that edge over MIBR right
Them being
now.
loud?
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, you heard from our guests. They all grilled me for my prediction, but it's all good. It's just another day in the hood. Let's go ahead and start this bad boy. VCT Americas starts right now.
Deixa passar a frieza do argentino e agora sim, pega o primeiro, pega o segundo.
Ali o Tex caminhando para esse ponto A mesmo. E agora chega a Tzin, 4 kills para ele, ponto do BBR.
Riot Games Arena. Hoje é dia de duelo brasileiro e eles vêm finalmente com o time completo. Então deem as boas-vindas pro MIBR.
Sou brasileiro, trabalhador que faz a luta. Não desiste, merecedor dessas conquistas. Nascidos para o mundo, trago o Brasil no meu peito. Em busca das vitórias, responsa é com nós mesmos. Quando me perdi, encontrei comigo mesmo. E tirei forças, eu não sei da onde. Amigos eu ganhei, perdi, são coisas da vida. O que me dói é a minha família longe. Torcedores vaiam, outros me motivam. Vou persistir nessa longa estrada da vida. Vencer a obrigação, derrota é uma lição. Desistir pra nós não é mais opção. Hoje mesmo busco o que é nosso sonho. Nossos sonhos, nossas glórias, nossos sonhos. Seja quem quiser ser, esteja onde quer estar. O foco sempre foi vencer.
E do outro lado, faz barulho e faz o L pra Loud!
Brazilian showdown to open up day 2 of Super Week. Loud and MIBR take to the stage. For Loud, they need to start their run and start it now. And MIBR, they got some fresh faces on that lineup who are looking to make a big splash, here today.
MIBR's stage is already almost over. A loss here would secure no chance at playoffs. But for Loud, this is actually a really important game. They had chances to win against EG in week 1, but couldn't clinch it in the end. And now they're on the tipping point of whether this squad could make playoffs. And Loud missing out on playoffs would be really unheard of.
Yeah, both these teams are super familiar with each other as well, so it's gonna be super explosive. And that first map being Ascent, I don't know what I'm expecting, But I wish there were some new comps. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of thinking about like roles-wise, and it kind of makes sense for them to keep running MIBR camp, to keep running the Yoru and the ISO. For
you
example,
think they're going to go back to ISO even with the changes?
I think it's possible. I think that ISO, especially on like up-dominated maps, I do think the ISO gives you a lot of power, both being able to tank a shot, the push wall too. Like, there's some pretty good options you can have into ops.
I do think his push wall works really well on Ascent specifically, so I'm not mad about it. But I don't know, I just feel like going back to that Jet or going back to the Raze is going to be a little more
sensible.
Solid. Sure.
Logical choice.
Yeah, and I also think with low practice time, remember, they said they only had 2 scrim blocks together.
Yeah.
I would really expect this MIBR team to maybe just play the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Even if it's with a different team.
Everyone
has played the standard Ascent comp. Everyone knows the standard flashes on KO, the standard pathing on Jet. I think it's the easiest kind of comp to just slot people back into.
I'm seeing Jets.
You say, I'm seeing. Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know, because I have to like peek in. You gotta squint a little bit.
Guy got the Jets. But you know what though? It makes a lot of sense for them to do that because to what you were saying, Mimi, you got these new guys on the stage here. You want them to feel comfortable coming into this one. It's a big matchup for them, for their careers. You don't want them to come out and have like, you know, a flat performance. So put someone on Jet, let them cook. Hey.
Yeah, for 3 of these guys, it's their debut stage here in VCT Americas. If you could put up some rounds, put up a performance against the team that has defined your region, that's 24-0 against Brazil, that's a good way to get your name out there.
I mean, and we saw Paula's stats on Jet and Raze. He does a really good job of being that entry duelist for any of the teams that he has played for before. So I'm not surprised seeing the Jet, the comfort pick coming into it, especially because it's a new environment.
I think for Rich as well, right? You felt very at home on scout initiators, right? Your Sovas and your Fades of the world. So putting him, I mean, Ascent, obviously, you're going to have a Sova in the comp there, but
his locked
Jet.
Okay. Yeah. So Sadak is not going to be playing that role. When I was talking to the Brazilian commentators, they were saying they were waiting for 2E's on Duelist. Thought it would be him full time, but it makes sense. For those that don't know, back when he was a tier 2 prospect in Brazil, he was a primary duelist for his team, and he was pretty damn good back then.
Yeah, so 2E's is going to be the opper for this team, it seems. Yeah. On Neon maps, Sadak is going to be running the Neon. Sadak also back at home on comfort on that KO pick
It was
for us.
a common thing as well. I remember it being talked about with 2E's playing, you know, different roles outside of that, and they were like, I remember vividly speaking to Fraud about this, him saying, we picked up 2E's because he is flexible. We can teach him these things, but he is a nasty duelist.
And that's when Fraud was on Loud, of course, back when he was coaching for this roster.
Yeah, I think having a flexible duelist, a flexible player just in general is super important. And having this ability to switch through 2 of your players on the duelist role is actually something really, really useful when it comes to tournaments like these, where you might need to switch weekly on what comp you're playing.
Well, folks, we are ready for map number 1 of day 2 of Super Weeks. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. You have Sir Douglas of Esports and Baby Von Bay.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy the Great. Dre, I think we've got a lot of things to talk about in this matchup. We've got to talk about Loud being undefeated against Brazilian teams. We've got to talk about MIBR with this debut. We've got to talk about the pursuit of champs and how Loud always seems to make a run. And if they're going to do it again, it has to start here. It has to happen here.
Yeah, it's like that one match at a time mentality that Potter was talking about and all the EG guys. Yeah, they have to do it one match at a time here. And honestly, they've never lost. Or, well, I don't want to say they've never lost, but so far, they've had the upper record on other Brazilian teams. They've been the
24-0.
Okay,
yeah.
so they have never lost. Okay, there you go. All right, my bad. I was doubting myself because I can't believe that stat. It's unreal.
I mean, they are the kings of Brazil for a reason. We've seen it 24 times now. The opportunity for the 25th as MIBR is still in desperate pursuit of their first win of the year, currently sitting at 0-6. But on the attacking side of Ascent, I think all eyes go towards this player right here, Paula. He's been regarded as the future of Brazilian Valorant. There's a lot of hope on this kid's shoulders, but it's a tall task he's facing here.
He looked very confident in the walkout, but something that was interesting was Mazin trying to help him put the in-ears in.
He's not going to be able to help him there as he is the first to fall. Kalanzine on the other side delivering the death blow. Zadora goes down. MIBR still managed to control a lot of this B site. Loud locked out.
Hey, got a little bit of a tag. Bomb's still not planted yet as well. Spike, rather. Now it's just getting down, but this flank that's coming into fruition, there was a KO dagger that landed at B main as well. Gives the info for this. Maybe an Omen flash? Pancada already used it.
Meanwhile, the fight goes off and back. Spawn, Artine will fall. Liazi on the swing will crumble at the hands of Pancada as well. Loud looks so comfortable here.
Yeah, they're not rushing anything. Mazin has to come up huge right here for MIBR. Can't connect.
That's such a tough ask. So a flawless round to kick things off for Loud.
And they took their time with it, Doug. They were so patient, so rehearsed on that retake. Didn't rush a damn thing, and they still had 10 seconds left. Guess that's what you have to do when you have the numbers advantage like that. Kawazin getting that entry on the rookie right here. Nice work.
Tough to have us over there with the Sheriff in hand. But very well played. I think you're right. They played it very slowly. I think they were very methodical in their approach, and that's often been the DNA of Loud, right? They seldom feel bothered. They seldom feel frantic in their approaches.
And if you let them set up a retake like this, it's just nearly impossible to deal with because they are so rehearsed. They're so dialed in on their timings. They don't really give away anything free. So you kind of have to disrupt a team like Loud before they set up for that retake.
Kawazin playing with a little bit of fire.
Yeah. Almost got burned.
Here. Meanwhile, Paula's taking some space, but he's already been spotted, and that's a dash now gone. So we'll see if they can make anything happen around that.
Because something else we can mention is the Killjoy versus the Cypher. I think both characters have their net positives. But I mean, less on Cypher is a spectacle to behold. You're gonna see him taking a lot of fights on the attacking side in B main, at least, and then probably mixing up his trips on this defensive side. It's a very slow approach on this eco round for MIBR. They're trying to feel out the map, trying to feel out the setups of Loud.
I like what they're trying to do here, though. They just smoke deep in mid, which is often indicative of a split B, but if that's where they want to end up, they're a little late behind it.
Ooh, Kawazin, he almost got caught right there.
Meanwhile, it's Liazi who falls. Rich is going to join him.
30 seconds left.
MIBR, yes, they don't have a weapon advantage, but they really have no space on the map either. With 20 seconds left in the round, the spike is still by Swan. They haven't really found much A. A tough spot for them to be in.
Looks like they have an opportunity here to maybe get something going, but not. Tui's cleaning up the round with 3. That outlaw buy, but it's the Sheriff that closes it out for them. And they did a really good job, Loud, of just holding their ground, holding their position. Kawazin not falling there to Mazin up middle. That was the key factor into this round and basically what shut out MIBR from pulling off any type of bomb plant or even getting onto the site.
One enemy remains.
It's that nice cleanup, nice Sheriff shots connecting for Tui's on that jet roll. Haven't seen him play that in so long. Maybe in ranked.
Yeah, it's been a while. Back-to-back flawless rounds for Loud. MIBR still looking for their first kill of the map. This might be where they do it. You take a look at the buy for Loud. You've got a smattering of different bits of weaponry.
Ooh, that knife does connect on Tui's. That jiggle will make him found out, but Mazin, he gets spammed almost to no HP.
Really nice swing from Sadak. Taking matters into his own hands.
I got the spike.
Getting a couple of kills, but Hall is there to trade. Now, what's the response on the other side of this from MIBR? Hall just got tagged again, and Tui's confident on the swing. Putting down the opposing jet. Again, a big advantage here for Loud.
The rewalk through mid as well. Finding the timing on Artzine. It's pretty new to that Killjoy role.
I mean, Mazin has no choice.
Yeah, it's going to be an angle to save maybe here, unless he can catch off any of the defenders making a mistake, but I don't think that Loud are going to give him anything right now. There's no reason to lean towards B whatsoever. You have 2 Cypher chips there, 1 in mid, 1 B main as well. Only thing you got to worry about is Cat or A main.
So you can tell, I mean, as we think about the round that we just saw, given that it was their first gun round, MIBR's, you can tell what the plan was. The intentions were pretty clear. I think execution, Dre, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, because to me the execution felt sluggish. It didn't feel decisive. It didn't feel confident.
It could feel like that, But, I mean, MIBR, they were just trying to set up for an actual hit onto A or whatever. It's the proactivity from Loud that was the deciding factor. They took the fight to MIBR in that A main. That KO pop flash, the stinger, everything of the sorts. And honestly, one of the players from MIBR actually tried playing anti. Rich, the rookie, he turned that flash, but just couldn't connect on the flick. The trades were there for Paula, but it just wasn't enough. You said Tui's was confident there, but I think Paula was a little bit too confident as well after getting those first 2 trades. Just sitting in the open, crouched. I mean, that's so hard to convert a kill like that, relying on your mechanical talent.
Tui still with the outlaw.
He hasn't slowed down a bit. He's gonna get another one right here. Oh my gosh!
That was pretty. He really hasn't had any reason to slow down. I think it's part of the issue.
Yeah, the disruption in these last couple of rounds from everybody on the side of Loud has been nothing short of spectacular.
Well, and you think about what an approach would be for a team of Loud's caliber playing against a team who's making their debut, really. As Tui's gets forward, Ace potentially on the other side. He's going to have to do it with the Sheriff, and you can tell Kawanzin, the good teammate that he is, handing it over. The I-Buy power race for Loud. It doesn't get much easier than that.
Yeah, he's making Jet look insane right now, the defensive side.
9-0.
Running rampant.
That's wild.
And he got kills everywhere. I mean, what, the first 2 kills were in mid. He even overextends right here with a jump peek, connects onto the head. Goes all the way back to B side. He's everywhere in this round.
Mr. Worldwide.
And then Heartseen, he gives up on trying to shoot the player that's just jumping around because he knows he wants to deny the ace, but he just couldn't connect. That's so based.
I will say this, though, before Tui's antics. When you think about a team like Loud and their caliber and their pedigree, and you think about who's sitting across the stage from them, a team that, again, is making their debut as a full roster for the first time. 2 players who are donning the MIBR banner for the very first time. Would the approach not naturally be to be really aggressive, to be very disruptive, to not allow them to play their pace, to play their style? I think that's, out of everything that Loud have done so far that's been so impressive, I think that's what stands out the most to me.
It's a great approach. Don't respect the team unless, you know, they show that you should be respecting them, right? And so far, I mean, there's been no fight back. We still have 4 members of MIBR sitting at 0 kills. Paula, the only one that got 2 kills, and they were off of what, trading after 2 of his teammates died. So it's not like he's going out getting entries and stuff like that. It's actually quite the opposite. He's been getting punished a little bit early on here, but it is attack side ascent, one of the hardest attacking halves that you can have. Let's see what they can do. It's definitely not over yet. It's still really early on in that timeout. Maybe there's something that Frauds has seen to help his team get on the board. Unless we'll just sit in B main and take a gunfight. Why not?
Yeah, to have been a fly on the wall, because I think, again, when you're this new, I mean, there are so many things that need to be a part of the conversation. Some messy shots from Les there. Paul was able to get the best of them. And so this is very reminiscent of what happened in the pistol round. Remember, they got the pick mid, and then they had all B space. So they were able to get the spike down, and ultimately they lost the retake attempt, yes. But this time it's a 4v4, though.
Oh, look at this retake setup right here. Knives have been popped for Tui's. That Omen flash doesn't connect onto Rich, but still a trade.
Here. 1-for-1 found. Blade still on mine. Tui's not spotting a target. Paula's on the swing, and Tui's is there to punish one more time. 59 HP. He's taking some damage. Liazzi striking beautifully, though, as MIBR are on the board.
Yeah, that was a way better post plant for MIBR. And a part of that was less with that challenge onto Paula. I mean, he just couldn't settle his crosshair, couldn't settle his movement on those shots. He was shooting a little bit too fast, a little too frantic. But Tui's, I mean, he almost went crazy on this retake. But it was this right here, Liazzi, who got into market, made it nearly impossible for Loud to execute that retake, honestly. That's such a pivotal spot to be in.
Disruption again, the name of the game. MIBR fast here off of a paranoia. The blades are popped. You see the Hunter's Fury out as well. Not going to tag. Sight once again. There's Kawanzin. Falls though. They've gotten a little bit of space. Paula. Planted. Those knives will not do.
Still adjusting to the main stage for sure.
No, here Tui's has an op in hand. Shot rattling off, not connecting. MIBR still with slight control. And it's very reminiscent of what we saw in the previous round. Remember, it was Liazi who flanked around through mid. This time it's Artine who's going to try to do the same thing. But as is always the case in these late flanks, timing is everything. If MIBR can deal with some of what Loud are trying to do and allow our team to get into a good position, he may have a shot at this, but Rich and Liazi crumble.
Last player standing.
And it's all on our team now, and with just a couple of seconds left and no teammates to fight alongside, Tui's is going to be able to stick the defuse. That's another round the way of Loud.
And once more, if you do not disrupt Loud on their retake protocols, I mean, they're going to own you.
Yeah, you almost have no shot.
The KO molly that lands into heaven, it still hits out hell. It floods everybody to a spot where that Omen Flash is going to connect. And Pancada just coming out of that switch area, he's able to clean up 2 kills for free, basically. But yeah, that's that adjustment that needs to be made. Oh, beautiful. They lined up for him. So another clean retake, and that late flank from Artsine, it was just not on point, not on time. The players on the site couldn't live for nearly long enough.
I will say, though, I do want to give some credit to Paula, and sometimes it does seem a little ill-advised, forced, if you will, but you think about in the previous round, that push into heaven.
He could have gotten that kill.
Easily could have, and that's what you want out of a duelist, right? You've got sight, scale, go make a play, go take a little bit more space, go be aggressive. And I think when you think about a player making a debut, that's not something you always see.
That is true. That is very true. Someone who we did see do things like that, though, was Artsine on his debut.
Hang on. Tui's with the op. Paula first to tag. Nicely done with the Cloudburst to stay alive. Dash away. You imagine MIBR are going to want to go fast here. They don't have Rich. He's waiting on the other side. He used it as a shotgun. He gets 2, not able to settle on the 3rd, but Kalanzine joins in. Mazine is on the site, but he doesn't have the spike. And again, Rich so far away from the play. Oh, he spotted him. That's a very nice shot, though, and that's going to buy a little bit more time. With 30 seconds left, there's still so much left to do. Mazine will fall.
30 seconds left.
Rich in a 1v2. So far away from the spike.
Louder showing a lot of respect right now to Rich. So he does have an opportunity here to get that bomb planted, get that spike planted, and he has a dart up as well. Omen Flash, KO Flash,
10 seconds left.
Mollies, TPs, pretty much full utility for this retake. A perfect Molly.
Does a little bit of damage. There's the Molly, there's the Paranoia, and there are the closing shots from Sadak to get Loud another round.
I was kind of worried for Loud at first, giving a player like Rich all that type of space, but they're so confident in their utility on the retake, and that's why, right? The Molly to basically make Rich go into a spot where that Omen Flash is going to connect. Oh, here was that no scope. I feel like it rarely works that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, when the barrel's in the face, it better connect.
Very nicely handled by Loud. I think part of the issue, too, is I don't think they realized where the spike was. So you had to respect Rich. You had to respect his positioning, and given how much time was left on the clock. So into the 8th round we go. 2 rifles in the hands of MIBR. Very little success found. And it has just felt like an uphill struggle.
Yeah, 6-1. It's definitely tough. I'm wondering if they lose these next 2 rounds, maybe another timeout for this half.
Possibly.
That dagger did connect.
Smokes out. Paula tries getting ahead of it a little bit, but not been able to find any success. That was clean, though. Out from Rich, dropping Pancada. This op hasn't really done a lot, but it's finally starting to settle. Sadak getting the best of Liazi. A little bit of space found on the site. Still not enough to commit to the plant, though.
That was so chaotic for a moment. Now,
it was ugly.
Finally some settling to the storm.
And so here, Artine's gonna get the spike down, or should, barring that. Oh, that was very close. But he has his ult online. Does he force it here? It doesn't matter. Instantly gets dropped by Kalanzine.
And again, another great retake from Loud. They look so good, so coordinated on these retakes. The utility also is just so on point right now. There was a shock dart kill from Kawazine on the bomb, on the spike planter. Some really nice things being done from Loud, and yeah, it was a little scrappy. The re-swing, Rich just unaware that Tui's was going for more, and then Sadhak running through the door on his lonesome. That was really interesting. to say the least, but still, they convert. Another round win, another retake round win. And you look at the scoreboard right now, that's 3 rounds in a row where they've defused the spike. So right now for MIBR, you gotta figure something out on these post plans.
Aggressive from Loud, disruptive from Loud, less opping, dropping Paula. Meanwhile, Tui's is in your lap. So aggressive, so decisive again.
And there's trips on A for anybody that's trying to flood. Smart from Liazzi to walk up here.
Top of the door, Kamazin spamming through. Liazzi was patient, wisely, not to commit to the cross. No Mazine on the other side.
Yeah, he's on an island. He just saw Pancata, but his timing might be bad. I say that, but the slow approach on the retake for Loud, it might actually be a thorn in their side. They got to speed up right now because Mazine's about to come up huge.
2 big kills there. Kamazin and Pancata fall. Still less than Tui's in the play. And that might be enough. 2v2 now. Tui swings a little bit too far out. Can the op do anything here? Will they even give him the swing? Les gets his 1, but Mazine with 3 on the round. Just like the only other round that MIBR have won, it was off of a late flank. The timing was good. They were able to strike, and that got them around.
And it's interesting because Pancata was actually holding for that for quite some time. So Mazine actually found the perfect timing on that late flank, and the players on site did a really good job of surviving for long enough to allow that to happen. Really good job. And honestly, this was looking disastrous at the beginning. It was a really good aggressive defensive push from the side of Loud. Will be 2 rounds on the board for MIBR after that.
Couple of flashes traded, and now the ult used.
Oh, wow.
He's gonna survive. Very nicely handled. They're dueling ults. With no kills found.
I don't know how Mazin just came out of that only taking like chip damage from his own Sova ult.
Oh, smooth steps. Paula with the smoother shot.
So precise on that one.
I mean, I get why people are excited about this kid. Had some really nice moments. Kamazin falls. Nicely handled by Arzine on the swing. Rich now pushing forward, and MIBR again have found success enough to get out onto the site. It does not look like there's a late flank here or anything they're going to have to worry about. So Loud, yes, they're at a numbers deficit, but they can turn their attention fully forward. I worry about the weaponry, though. I mean, Tui's has an op in hand. He just took a ton of damage, down to 55 HP, no armor.
Yeah, this is going to be really hard to bring back. Sadhak,
he's got a lot to do here. Settles the first, gets the second, not able to land onto the third, but Loud have cut their losses already. They've scattered. Tui's down to 1 HP, is more concerned about saving the op. Wisely so. If Les can get a couple of these exits, these matter. They don't have a ton of money. Liazzi denied exit. Mazine will fall too. Every single weapon on the ground.
Yeah, when disaster strikes, you gotta bring back something from it. And getting those guns out of the hands of MIBR is everything. Look at how Mazine was just finessing back and forth right there. But it was that entry, both these entries, previous duelist and current duelist, opening up that entire A site, allowing for a 5v3 post-plant scenario. Really good work so far. MIBR crawling back into this half slowly.
It's 3 rounds on the attack side, so we'll see how much more they can put together.
Placing swarm grenade.
Early paranoia. It seems like they want to go fast towards B. They're going to have to deal with these trips. Paula over the top. Nicely handled to dodge away from the dart, but you don't dodge away from Les.
You should run.
Meanwhile, everything else is already starting to rotate over too. He's trying to get some high ground with Liazzi waiting on the other side of the smoke. Having to wait for the lockdown. He's going to die while it happens. This is very nicely handled by Loud, but the spike is out. MIBR are out.
Full info on the members of MIBR as well. A 4v2. This is going to take some heroics from the side of MIBR. Mazine, he was the deciding factor in one of their post plans.
Remember how often you've highlighted Loud look comfortable. They look confident in these retakes. They're going to have to do it again. A 4v2 still in their way, even though they lost 1 for it. And the outcome is the same. And yes, this one doesn't feel as indicative given the massive numbers deficit that MIBR was facing, but It doesn't really matter how you do it. That's another one for Loud.
Yeah. Loud are a team that are willing to grind out wins. They've never been afraid of that. I mean, they go down a lot of the times on the first map. So for them to start like this on a first map is a good sign. And this coordinated fight together.
One enemy remaining.
Fight anybody that's holding the lockdown, and then it was that flank from Pancada. He had full info that entire time because of that Cypher ult that was invested from Les. So even with the player dropping early and making it a 3v2 retake, I mean, that flank is just so strong.
The timing is miserable to deal with. The buy is
miserable.
Odd.
Yeah, it's last round right now.
Yeah.
MIBR feeling the negative effects of those exit kills that Loud got in one of those rounds previous.
He's isolated. Yeah, Tui's had really no one to cover him because Les was smoked off.
It's a
There's
great
no
opener.
one to watch that. Now in the smoke, unable to settle. It's a little bit more damage done.
Oh, that's a free B site as well. Sleep. Oh, but what is that from Rich? A little bit antsy, a little bit too ambitious of a peek in the mid. The numbers game was won.
Oh, look at Liazi's positioning. He's tucked, he's hidden. Sadak has no idea.
Beautiful spray control.
And so MIBR have a numbers advantage here. They've got a rifle in hand too for Artzine. Can Loud settle this? The paranoia is so good, but Kamazine seems to be better. Mazine on the trade. Pancada by himself. Healthy too. No damage dealt so far. Time short though. But Spike has been going off for a little bit. A lot of the onus here on the controller to make a play, and he slipped the net.
Yeah, but this crossfire is too deadly. I mean, maybe.
I mean, the crossfire doesn't matter. He's already gotten his way through.
Oh my gosh.
It's been smoked off. He's got it. Challenge to smoke. Mazine goes in aggressive. He's gotten it to one. He's gotten it to half. The flash in his face. He tucks with the shorty in hand. The spike goes off. The round goes away of MIBR. That was way closer than it ever should have been.
Switching sides.
He snuck straight into there and almost finessed around. But good work from Liazi from start to finish of that round. Getting that kill in mid, then closing it out at the end there, just delaying time.
That was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, a good salvation to a half that looked like Loud was gonna run away with, and that was a nasty entry. Oh my goodness.
I mean, they put Tui's out there in a position, yes, with an op in hand and how hot he's been, it makes sense to make a play. But Rich was just better in that moment. There was no way for Les to help over the smoke, and then, again, that was almost... that was almost disastrous. But it works out the way of MIBR. They get to their fourth round. Earlier, we spoke to MIBR's Artzine about the team's role swaps for Stage 2. Take a listen.
Falando um pouco dessa mudança, eu acho que foi uma mudança boa, porque, querendo ou não, eu me considero um jogador versátil dentro do time. E eu sou aquele tipo de jogador que o que o time precisar que eu jogue para ser melhor por time, eu vou jogar. Querendo ou não, com... os nossos novos jogadores, o nosso novo duelista, eu acredito que ele tem muito potencial, muito talento também. Eu me vejo bastante nele, assim, no estilo que ele joga. E poder fazer de tudo para que ele se sinta bem assim no jogo, para mim já é o ideal. E com certeza eu vou masterizar as funções que for necessário para mim jogar e dar o meu melhor, como sempre.
His versatility is certainly being challenged as we see him transition over to the KJ role, and maybe the defensive side will show a little something different. We've talked about it. It's been very heavily documented. The defensive side of Ascent is just an easier side to play. So maybe that's what MIBR need here. Is 4 enough?
Yeah, it definitely could be. I mean, pistol round is a must win, though, for sure. When you have an 8-4 half. Otherwise, it just gets out of hand. Loud can sit at 10, and then you're looking gloom on that bonus if you don't convert that cleanly as well. But on the defensive side, it is historically better for the role of Jet, for the role of Killjoy. So I'm expecting some big things out of Paula and Artzine. They have to step it up right now. It's the IGL of Mazine, who's been so stable all year on, honestly, almost every single team he's been on as well. He's so good, and he's the IGL. Someone help this man out.
He needs it. He's looking for it as best as he can. I think on the other side of things, we've got to highlight too, he's 16-6 at halftime. Pretty freaking good on the Jet, all things considered. And again, for as treacherous as the attack side of Ascent can be, we'll see if he's able to replicate that success or perhaps even build upon it with the massive lead that they've built themselves here. I think it's also, as much as we've talked about Mazine, and yes, he's been good. I think for a stage like Ascent to be calling up against Sadak with everything that's gone on and all the other extenuating factors that are taking place around it. That's tough.
Yeah, the head-to-head is definitely something that you go into and you're like, damn, this guy's good. But also, makes it so you have something to prove. That info on that cam, that's all 3 members being seen for the side of Loud. Now they can speed up B, but the delay game, it's been pretty good so far.
The Artzine molly and then the smoke, but Loud funnel anyway. They flood out past it. They try to get out onto the site, and they're ahead of MIBR here.
Yeah, that solo swing from Artzine, had he waited just a couple more seconds for his teammates to get in, maybe a different outcome. But either way, there's also a mid deposit here of Pancada. He's going to get caught out.
He doesn't know. First shot goes a bit wide, but Mazine able to clean him up.
He's been so good.
And so this is going to allow them to swing up from spawn. Less forced to wait on the other side as Paula gets a little bit more aggressive, tries to dash out, but he's been lit up, and now he's dead. MIBR, really, you're starting to feel the struggle of them trying to get out onto the side, and honestly, they had some of the tools that they needed to do it.
And you're also starting to see the struggle of only playing together before this match for, what, 2 days? No one was there to shoot the dart. It was a little bit uncoordinated. Artzine on a different page than the rest of his squad, who was about to flood in with him. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a disconnect so far, but this is to be expected, I think, from a roster that, you know, has only had 2 days of practice going into this match. And Loud, I mean, they're playing to that advantage, to the max. Not really changing the wheel, just doing some very simple strategies so far in that pistol round at least.
One suppressed.
And now just an A main default. Wine knife that'll clear out all of Wine. It's a little bit of A main.
Tags the Aussie with it.
They're still a little worried. They're worried about a trap setup here.
As they should be.
Yeah. But the name of the game has been extremity control so far in this round for Loud, and they haven't gotten fought on either side. The problem is, now that they're all leaving A, they're running into a stack, so if there's no utility invested, like a drone or anything, and they decide to just exec dry, they're gonna run into a blender.
The only real delay utility, Liazzi's still on the other side of the map. He's the only one with a molly. The camera, or the turret, excuse me, has already been traded out. But they still don't like it.
Yeah, that dagger landing onto multiple players, they understand that it's a B main stack. Les, he's gonna get timing! Oh! I say that, but he just B-hops away in time.
And Paula has to give up pursuit. But again, MIBR are ahead of this. They've rotated so quickly, but when you just got pistols, what can you do? Rich and Paula, the 2 newcomers to the roster. The only ones left standing. And now it's all on the duelist. With a classic in hand, facing 3 from Loud. Trying to buy his time. A 4 and 13, a couple targets spotted, one of them dealt with. The situation is not getting any easier for the kid.
Oh, he did get an upgrade, but the up-down is too strong for Loud. And yeah, I mean, Loud didn't run into a stack, but I think MIBR did a really good job of making this costly. Now, this is the round that we need, that MIBR need to convert. They need to win this, and they need to win it clean, because if they win it, but everyone drops with their guns, or they only keep a player alive, their economy is going to be in shambles. Basically sets Loud up to just secure this round win, this map win as well.
I mean, they may have already. That pistol is tough.
And the economy right now for Loud, it's looking great. I mean, look at this buy, and they have full buy next round as well. A fast A main take. Not going into an execute unless just going up mid. It's a very common thing that we've seen on maps like this. 4-1s. You show heavy A main. Your Cypher or Killjoy walks up mid. Don't really have to worry too much about that B main control off the rip, because you can just come back and re-clear it.
So far, all going according to script. You've got to keep an eye on Artzine's alarm bot mid. You wonder here, I mean, MIBR are getting a little proactive here. A peek towards mid to see if there's anything there.
I like that, but it does give Loud the info that there were 2 players peeking cat, which probably means there's 3 there. Because someone's got to be watching A main. That's why you see this KO all invested into the B main hit, dodging all utility. It will be a 5v5 post-plant retake scenario.
What a mess this will be. The dart back site too. Not going to tag anyone. MIBR are going to have to try to deal and try to replicate what Loud were so good at in the first half. Can they get a retake the same way?
That was a good knife connected from Liazi. They connected on 2 players, but nothing being done with that.
Exactly. Where's the follow-up? Where's the go? The paranoia out now. You've got Amali that's waiting on the other side as Paula, expecting some utility that never comes. Still swings out, drops Kawanzin, but pays for it with his life.
Time, Doug.
It's so short. But Liazi's gotten a couple of kills. How much more can he find, though? Less. Forced to sit back. He's so far away from the play. Spam going to connect onto 1, but even if it wasn't for that, they should have, and they did. 1.57 left. That was closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, good work from MIBR to just flood stairs like that and get those kills on the members of Loud that were getting aggressive. But for the side of Loud, I mean, if they had just survived for 1 second longer, 2 seconds longer here, instead of doing this and everyone swinging out, they win the round. So, a good round win for MIBR. They keep their economy kind of stable.
Stable enough.
Yeah, stable enough to have a 4-rifle buy. And that Judge, I mean, it could be so strong on this map. We've seen Sadhak use it the most out of any player, I feel like. Him and Vanity.
I'm curious about what the setup is. Yeah, I didn't know if they tried to tuck him into wine or whatever it was, but it seems like they've opted to put him up close. And there are members of Loud waiting.
I just wonder if Sadhak is aware of this, seeing the money that Liazi has. I wonder if he thinks that he's going to take a page of his own book, but it might be a dry swing.
It's a dry swing.
Great
Only
trade.
1 kill found, though, yeah.
I think that's a W for Loud. That could have been deadly.
Yeah, it could have been 2, perhaps even 3. Keep an eye on Mazine and his positioning. Spamming through. Kawanzin will fall. But again, the duelist only able to get 1.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job of getting that first blood, that first kill. Paula. But
that's kind of it.
He gets traded so fast.
And that's massive props to Loud for being able to do that every time.
That's how you deal with a star duelist.
Or someone who's looking to make a name of himself.
That was messy from Sadhak.
Ardsy nicely handled. Les and Pancada left for Loud. They've gotten the spike down. They just need to buy their time here as best as they can survive. Pancada left alone, a 1v2. Ardsy weak. He will fall. The snap onto Mazine, not connecting yet. But time is short. 85 HP, no armor. Pancada takes a slight step back, buying his time, forcing Mazine to make a play. And it's Pancada who comes out on top. The Red Bull clutch as Loud get 11.
That's the Pancada we know. He didn't really show that in the last series against EG, but he's back. Warmed up on the stage. Nice clutch. And the trading game from Loud, it's been amazing. Not allowing that Judge to get multiple players. And then that 1v3 from Pancada at the end. That's vintage almost.
And it's so smart. You know that the spike is down. You know you're weak. Instead of forcing the fight, he tucks into hell. Baits him in.
He played that 1v1 to perfection.
Very beautifully done. Meanwhile, Paula looking to get aggressive with the Guardian in hand. Getting a kill, a second. Sadhak.
These are the moments where he gets the first blood. Now he gets 2 this time. But he was out mid for, what, 25 seconds already?
Exactly. Felt like an eternity.
It's absurd.
That was the only rifle they had, too.
3 members of MIBR went mid to support Paula there.
All right, how do they keep a close eye on this? Pancada's TP towards back B. MIBR had an opportunity to try to flood out, but they're patient.
Oh, this would be an insane timing.
They've contacted out, but they all fall.
What a timing from Loud. Pancada and Les just smothering them from 2 different angles. Good coordination, though, on that. You saw that Pancada's peeking at the same time as those players are coming through the smoke out of B-main. And now it's up to Mazine in a 1v3 with just a stinger to his name. Yeah, he's got some utility, but he's getting wrapped by Les right now as we speak. He's going to be taken out shortly. There it is. Loud sitting at match point.
Match point. Let's close up shop.
I mean, they've just so effectively dismantled MIBR from top to bottom.
Yeah, on MIBR's map pick as well. It seems to be the story about a lot of these teams. These new rosters. Maybe some nerves on their map pick. On the first map in general. And it's new. It's new for them, right? To be fair, Paula, yeah, he's sitting at 9 and 17. I've seen some really nice shots out of this kid.
Agreed. Yep.
It's going to take time, for sure. There will be a timeout.
The problem is, though, Dre, time is not something the teams have much of a luxury of these days. I mean, stage 2, the 6 spots for playoffs are what everyone has eyes set on.
Yeah, I imagine this rebuild from MIBR wasn't something that was, oh yeah, we're making this roster to make playoffs. I think it's more of the long haul picture, you know, like what are players that we can pick up, maybe get them some experience in this stage 2, and then have a God squad for next year, or like have a big foundation, right? So that's what they're going to be working on. It's a long-term project here for them. But on the opposite side, Loud, they have to make it.
Yeah, the stakes could not be any different. Yeah,
I mean, they missed out on what, their first international in so long.
I think it was ever in the history of the org, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And if they don't make champs, that's crazy. It's the end of an era for sure.
They always find a way. We'll see if they can do it again. Currently sitting at 2-4, but I've got to remind you guys again, the record that they have against Brazilian brethren is ridiculous. And it doesn't seem like that's going to change today.
And SDK brought up a good point. He's like, I know Fraud's going to want this win so bad. And it makes sense knowing the history between those two.
And if Fraud is anything, he's a competitor, man. He's a fighter.
It's like Artson's got some fight to him still. Picks up that kill onto the IGL of Sadhak. The thing about Sadhak, though, is like he's playing Neon on a lot of these maps. He plays KO, and he plays it pretty aggressively. Nice kill from Liazi on the lurk on less. But even when he falls short, even when he goes for an early aggressive kill and it doesn't go his way, he's still able to IGL at that moment and just micro his teammates, mid-round them around. Beautiful kill from Kyle Hazine. Oh my goodness, that was insta.
Talk about microing your pieces around. Kawanzin will pay for it. He will fall. Tui's and Pancada left alive for Loud. And Pancada continues to be Pancada.
Now it is full info now for MIBR that there was a player in mid, there's a player in B main.
This would be a tragic way for this map to end.
Yeah, especially with Tui's being so low on the jet right now. Oh, can't connect.
Rich not able to settle the shots. The only player from MIBR who's not in the play right now is Mazine, but he's starting to rotate over. They haven't really made their way out. Tui's and Pancada fall. We're going to play at least one more round.
Yeah, nice round from MIBR. If Loud are going to give us free kills, why not? We'll take them. Walk into my crosshair. That's pretty much what happened for Artsine and Liazi in that round. But look at their economy. They win the round and it's still in shambles. You can't see it right now because we're seeing the replay. I love this angle. So satisfying when you connect this shot.
That's a LAN angle. 1000%. Don't try that one at home.
Yeah, Les tried to, he actually tried to perfect peek that as well. But he did a little crouch swing on that. Oh no. We're gonna go into a tech pause. We don't know what happened.
Maybe building a little bit of suspense, I guess. As soon as we figure out what's going on, we'll let you all know. It seems like something on the side of MIBR is the culprit. And so discussions will take place. Solutions, I hope, will be implemented, and we'll get back into the action as soon as we can. If you are just joining us, it's been a Loud show from beginning to end. Currently sitting up 12-6. I think there's a lot of reason to be excited about this roster for the future of MIBR. I think Paula has been a bright spot. We've seen some very special individual moments for the youngster, but by and large, excuse me, it's been all Loud. And I think, as we mentioned earlier, Dre, the goalpost, if you will, could not be more different. For MIBR, some success, some reason for hope, some reason for excitement. But for Loud, the expectation at the beginning of every year and at the end of every year is to make champs. And they somehow always do it. And it seems like they're on that trajectory again. Still a lot of VALORANT to play. That seems like where they're headed.
Well, I was really curious going into maps like this where you have to run Jet or Raze maps. I know Sadhak has ran Raze before, but I was really curious who's going to be the duelist player for this team. Is it going to be Les? I mean, but why would it be? Because he's already duelist on Sentinel anyway, right? So it's cool seeing Tui's pick this Jet up again. And yeah, he looked a little bit shaky with some of his first shots with the op, but maybe that's just a little bit of rust on that operator. I'm sure as time goes on, he'll get even better, because when he had the second opportunity or the third opportunity to take those off shots, he connected.
Yeah, he's delivered. I mean, he's delivered.
And the knives, he looked great on the knives as well. So poised with them.
He's playing well for Loud. I think Pancada looks very good. The roster change that they made in between stage 1 and stage 2 seems to be exactly what the doctor ordered. I am being told that we're getting back into the action. There was a faulty keyboard that was the culprit, the reason for the delay. But that has since been fixed, and we should be getting into the action here very shortly. 12-6 the way of Loud on MIBR's map pick. Lotus the next, and then if needed, we would be heading over to Sunset for the decider.
Yeah, looks like we are getting back into it right now as well.
MIBR with 4 ults to their name. Mazine 1 away from theirs.
Yeah, and a scrappy buy for Loud. I mean, both squads kind of all over the place.
Get out of my way!
In terms of the economy.
Yeah, but the Blades are often the difference maker.
And I just spoke about how good Tui's has been with them so far. Let's see what he can do here. He's getting set up with full utility.
Liazi's really far away from the play. It doesn't matter because Tui's falls, but they pop the ult to get the knives down. Rich getting in on it as well. 2 ults invested, 3 kills found.
Yeah, and that was a nice play. I'm a big fan of what MIBR just set up and how they did it. They understand the win condition for Loud is just Tui's dashing in with those knives. That KO ult being popped denies that completely. All of a sudden, Artson gets a free kill. Rich is using his Sova ult in a diagonal crosshair, crossfire in that market area as well. Actually ends up connecting on a player in B main. I mean, he'll take that.
We're just really able to pick them apart. I think Artzine also being able to carry his ult into the next, barring an investment here late, certainly bodes well for MIBR. But all of that said, Loud still have 2 rifles in hand, and they have a free A site.
It's very free, and that's why you see Kawazine kind of prodding up in this space. This dagger will be the info for MIBR that it's probably going to be an A plant.
It's such a deep knife, too. Fully clearing everything out. Ooh. I think the question is, do Loud play this back? Kawazine is really far up.
Yeah, Liazi spotted him. That's why you see the pop flash setup.
He's in a 1 and done. Takes a step back, drops the dart, somehow stays alive. He's just being a nuisance, buying as much time as he possibly can. The benefit to MIBR, though, is that they have numbers. They can send 1-2 to deal with him and then turn attention back site. Sadok's left alone, can't deal with the remaining members of MIBR. So the defensive side will get to their 7th.
Yeah. Good patience from MIBR to just hold that setup, have crossfires. Liazi spotted Kawazine there. They had this little awkward standoff for a second, but then the instant reaction for Liazi to come back a little bit more into spawn, set up that pop flash so nobody gets picked off early on to take that space back from Loud. That was nice.
Here we see some of the makings of that play that you mentioned at the beginning of the round with the 100 Fury.
He connected. Oh.
Nice. Well, guys. Boy, Rich, nice to be honest. Nice.
Okay, some vibes from the squad of MIBR. Not bad. Not bad. But yeah, that Hunter's Fury from Rich connected on a player B main and right there.
Loud have 5 light armor. Let's see if they can kind of navigate this as well as they can to close out the map. Paul is getting active. But just not able to punish.
Yeah, not confident enough on that specific swing, but maybe the trade right here. Rich has an opportunity to kill the drone. A little late, though. Didn't take his window of opportunity. Maybe that inexperience showing a little bit.
He was set up really well. Meanwhile, Mazine having to deal with 3. Manages to drop 1, but a flash in his face. Now Loud kind of thrown into disarray a little bit here. They have a couple of options. They still have plenty of time to figure out where they want to end.
And I get it from the side of Loud. I get why Sada called to go A there. You just got 2 kills in mid with a lean towards B. You droned into B main. You might think that those players of MIBR are going to rotate and bite on that drone, but they didn't. And it worked out to their benefit. MIBR now have a chance to bring this round back. It's a 3v4.
35 seconds left. Sada controlling his troops.
There's 1.
I mean, just gets obliterated. Kawazine does too. Liazi's been crispy these last couple of rounds. Another numbers disadvantage for the attacking side. Whoa! What? That's how that ends?
Sadok! The IGL, he took thing into his own hands. What was that?
Very nicely done by Sonic to close things out. 13-7 the way of Loud. It seemed like MIBR were going to be able to get another round on the board, but I mean, when the leader's doing things like that, why not?
So many first bloods from the side of MIBR. Crazy.
It just wasn't enough. 13-7 the way of Loud. Again, MIBR had a couple of things to be excited about. Reason for hope, if you will, but it might take a bit for that hope to fully come through. Loud, up big. And that was on their map pick, too. I mean, maybe Lotus will have a little bit something different to offer on the side of MIBR. We'll see what the preparation looks like, given that they only had, what, 2 blocks of scrims. Maybe they'll be able to conjure up a little bit of magic. We'll see on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Lotus up next.
Every time I needed a new phone, I had to switch carriers.
I told him, at Verizon, everyone can get the best deals. Like that iPhone 15 on them.
Switching all the time, it wasn't easy.
35. You're gonna be here forever.
I know.
Here's your wireless contract.
Do I need a lawyer for this? Those were hard days.
Representative switch!
Now that I got a huge storage and battery upgrade, I'm officially done switching.
New and existing customers get iPhone 15 on us when they trade in any iPhone, any condition, guaranteed.
I really wish you told me sooner.
I did.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Take my beat back. Take my beat.